Welcome to our webinar. We are super excited to have you here today. My name is Angelos and I'll be heading this event. Now, I'm gonna leave a few seconds for the risk warning and the disclaimer, and we'll take it off from there. Okay, so again, welcome to our webinar. We are super excited to have you here today. My name is Angelos. I'll be heading this event. Today's discussion will be focusing on vaccine stocks, and we'll be providing information on the fundamentals, the economic circumstances, and the price action of the stocks involved. Now, we chose this subject as this is not only very important with the vaccination process currently being carried out in the world, but also because we believe market participants are watching in parallel how the different vaccine producers are doing from a business and financial perspective, which could be good information to use when trading. Now, that's why we're here. We're here because we are traders. We love to trade the markets, especially when they're in the spotlight, just like today's subject. Okay, so first stock for today is Pfizer. I'm going to start first with some fundamentals on Pfizer, and then we'll get into the price action. Okay, so Pfizer making agreements with countries and continents. Pfizer Inc. and BioNTech SE vaccine was quickly given an emergency use authorization by the US Food and Drug Administration on the 11th of December. Since then, the manufacturing process has been enhanced tremendously by Pfizer, and some bottlenecks that had surfaced during the beginning are seemingly subsiding. In the past months, Pfizer managed to assemble an intensive manufacturing network, which the company forecasts will produce 2 billion doses this year. Now, in the past week, official Pfizer quarterly results indicated revenues rose to $14.6 billion, while adjusted diluted EPS followed higher, just 0.93 for quarter one 2021. Now, we're giving this information as it's evidence that the company is in good shape financially. On Monday, the 10th of May, the FDA expanded its emergency use authorization for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to be used among individuals 12 to 15 years of age. So this is going to be used on teenagers also. Now, in the past days, many media sites had publicized that the European Union has turned towards Pfizer and its novel COVID-19 vaccine technology by agreeing to a huge contract extension for a potential 1.8 billion doses by 2023. This is not big news because we've heard also Japan and India turned to Pfizer back in April, and they were also interested in agreements for the future supply. And Pfizer, in our opinion, has the production capacity, the manufacturing capacity to do this. Okay, so that's it as for the fundamentals. Now I'm going to the technical analysis. Now you can see the levels of the chart on the right side. Pfizer stock price has been moving higher and reaching consecutive high levels since the start of March, even though the price action at the moment is between our R1 40.10 resistance and our S1 38.85 support. In May, the price action has indicated traders could be more active with Pfizer. On the 5th of May, the buying orders once again exceeded, sending the price action to our R2 41 resistance and tested it, but did not manage to break through. If this scenario does materialize, then the next stop higher that we have in mind could be the R3 41.9 level. However, on the 6th of May, Pfizer opened with a considerable negative gap. The negative gap will be discussed as we proceed because it's important. And when this negative gap was performed, the price action tested the S2 38 support. Now, yet the price action quickly rebounded higher and more buying orders were observed. If the price action is to move even lower, however, we have placed the S3 37.25 as our lowest level for this webinar. At the moment, the RSI indicator below our chart is in a stabilizing downslope, just running across 41 level, indicating some selling could be in place. Okay. So now we're going to move to Pfizer's price performance. So this is Pfizer's information. So on a 52-week range, the lowest price was $29.96 and the highest was $43, 43.08. Okay, so this is approximately $14 in 52 weeks. This is not a big range. This is a small range. Okay, but because Pfizer is in the midst of the whole conversation, is one of the most important players, we have to give it to you first. On a year-to-date basis, the stock is up 6.9%. The last close was at 39.35. And this is the official information from Refinitiv Aecon today, the 12th of May. So we move next to Moderna. Moderna is our second coronavirus vaccine stock. Moderna observes sales rocketing. Now, we chose Moderna second because it was the second vaccine to be authorized for emergency use. This was done back on the 18th of December. Very similar to Pfizer, Moderna's vaccine uses messenger RNA, mRNA. At the moment, the company forecasts it could reach as close to 1 billion doses in 2021. For the first quarter of 2021, Moderna's total revenue reached $1.9 billion compared to the minor $8 million for the same period in 2020. As a result of the gigantic demand for its COVID-19 vaccine, Moderna's share price propelled by 488% in 2020 and is currently up 52.19% on a year-to-date basis. Now, these figures indicate Moderna's share price may have become the most volatile among vaccine stocks and could even be subject to speculation. Over the last year, the company nearly doubled the size of its workforce. And due to the dramatic demand for its vaccine, Moderna announced the expansion of its technology center in Norwood, MA, doubling it in space. This move indicates the company's eagerness to increase production capacity in the near future. Moderna is already accepting orders for new supply agreements in 2022, as some have already been publicized in the past days. One thing that stands out, in our opinion, for Moderna is the fact that this was an unknown company before COVID came. And this was an unknown company and they managed to get authorized. Yeah, their vaccine's efficacy is high, it's reliable. A lot of people prefer it. And also it managed to take its sales from 8 million to 1.9 billion, which is a massive, massive success. It's very inspiring. A lot of companies don't ever have this success. And Moderna has been able to do this in 1 year. Okay, so that's some important fundamentals just to keep in mind. I'm moving now to Moderna's technical analysis. Moderna has been in a downward trend line since the start of May, when it was trading nearby our R3 186.60 resistance level. The price action gradually moved lower to the R2 178.50 level and even lower below the R1 167.20 resistance. On the 6th of May, Moderna opened with a large negative gap, the same negative gap that we saw with Pfizer, and tested our current S2 146 support, but did not manage to breach it. In our opinion, if the selling was extended further, then the S3 136.20 could have been the next target for traders. At the moment, the price action is aiming towards the S1 154.80 support line, while for the past 6 days, the price action has been moving between our R1 167.20 resistance and the S2 146 support, which makes these lines both make or break levels. The RSI indicator below our chart has seemingly stabilized nearby 40 for the past days, possibly pointing to selling orders still being in place. I'm going to move now to the price performance table by Refinitiv Aecon. Now, 52-week range, lowest price was 46.13, and the highest price was 189.26. As you've noticed, this is over $100 range. So Moderna is the the vaccine stock that creates big daily movements. It has been noticed to be to take the scene over on a daily basis and be the biggest mover of some of the biggest US indexes. And it is volatile, it moves fast. So this is different than Pfizer. It's a bit different. It's almost, we can say, the opposite. On a year-to-date basis, Moderna is up 52.19%. Yesterday, the close was at 158.99. And as you can see in May, there's this little drop coming down from a high. And that's also for Moderna. Now we move to J&J, Johnson & Johnson. And Johnson & Johnson has a very interesting story to tell. Now, on the 27th of February 2021, the Janssen Pharmaceutical Companies announced it had received clearance for its vaccine by the US Food and Drug Administration as an emergency use authorization. J&J's vaccine is different than Pfizer's and Moderna's in various ways. First of all, it is a single-dose COVID-19 vaccine, which means people can complete their vaccination process much faster as opposed to the pre-mentioned that require 2 doses with a time interval between them. The technology behind the J&J vaccine is different and is called viral vector vaccine, which aims to deliver important instructions to our cells. For the first quarter of 2021, J&J saw revenues increase to 22.3 billion, which was an increase of 7.9% compared to the same time last year. Of course, the company produces many other products, and the increase in sales may not account for vaccines produced only. At some point after the vaccine's authorization, this is very important. This is why I said J&J has a very interesting story. At some point after the vaccine's authorization, the J&J vaccine usage was halted due to a rare blood clotting disorder emerging in some recipients. Now, if you read the FDA official report on J&J, it says 6.8 million people had been vaccinated with J&J's vaccine, and 6 cases were identified between ages of 18 to 48. It was 6, I think, females that were found with rare blood clotting disorder. And eventually, the vaccine pause was lifted, and the FDA, along with the CDC, stated the vaccine's benefits outweigh its potential risks in individuals 18 years of age and older. Now, in the past days, Germany announced it was making the J&J vaccine available for use. I'm going to go to the technicals, but I'm going to come back to the fundamentals on J&J because I think there's an important statement to make. Now, J&J's 1-hour chart. Now, J&J share price has also been on the rise in May, testing both our R1 169.70 level and then the R2 170.90 line, which is also the highest price reached so far. If the buying action is uplifted, then we could also see the R3 172.05 line coming into play. Now, the possible levels we have noted in the scenario of a selling trend are the S1 167.70 support and lower, the S2 166.40 line. If the bears are to dominate the scene, then the S3 164.70 level could also be reached. The RSI indicator below our chart seems to have made a stop nearby 50, indicating some ambiguity among traders for the further direction of the stock price. I don't want anyone to follow us blindly. I want you guys to find out what works for you, and you see our technical analysis, you see what other analysts are saying with technical analysis, and then you make your own decisions on technical analysis, okay? Don't just blindly follow us. Make your own decisions on technical analysis. But some things that needs to be clarified about J&J before we go to its performance price table is that the story of J&J with the blood clotting disorder, okay, scared a lot of people, not only away from Johnson & Johnson vaccine, but also it scared a lot of people as a total towards the vaccination process. A lot of people had doubts whether these vaccines are this and that, and there was a big conversation about this. And it's normal when you're a company of this scale and you're producing and you're delivering to the world, it's normal to have this kind of response when a lot of people are depending on you, okay? just to note. So further headlines on other companies on similar circumstances could move the stocks accordingly, whether it's positive or negative. Now I want to move to J&J's price performance. Okay, so on a 52-week range, the lowest price was 133.65 and the highest price was 173.65. Now this is a range of $40. It's not huge, but it's good enough. J&J can make headlines and can be in the biggest daily stock movers if you observe them. On a year-to-date basis, we see J&J being up 7.31%. The latest close was 168.88, and in May, it's been up so far. Okay. Moving now, again, this is Refinitiv Aecon table. We're moving now to Merck. Now, Merck side by side with J&J. A lot of people will ask me, why did you add Merck to this presentation, this webinar? Now, Merck is not among the vaccine producers and has not developed its own vaccine for the time being. On the 25th of January, the company officially announced it was discontinuing development of its COVID-19 vaccine candidates. It had 2 candidates and it discontinued them. However, on the 2nd of March, the company came back and announced they were entering into multiple agreements to support the uplift manufacturing capacity and supply of COVID-19 medicines and vaccines, naming specifically it would work with Johnson & Johnson. This was a great surprise to the market because Johnson & Johnson and Merck have been rivals for years. Yet, in our opinion, if Merck is involved in any way in the production of any vaccine currently authorized, then it's a vital force to confronting the pandemic and could in many ways impact the vaccination process further, negative or positive. Okay, so as long as they're involved, yeah, they can create waves, whether it's fundamental waves or technical or price action. As long as they're involved, this can happen. So I'm giving you this and you can do whatever you want with it. Merck's quarterly results had not shown its sales had increased substantially or decreased, but rather remained steady compared to the same time last year. Yet, as headlines continue to come in and the vaccine process is a very important subject at the moment, we expect the company to undertake considerable attention by the media in the near future. These headlines could create volatility for its share price. Technical analysis. Okay, so in the past days, Merck tested the R1 7870 resistance level, but did not manage to break above it. This, in our opinion, is an indication of a solid level as Merck has been in an upward trend line in May and the price action has moved lower since testing the R1. If the buying action is to continue, then the next levels we can see higher is the R2 80.10 barrier and the R3 81.30 line. In the opposite direction, if the selling persists, then the S1 76.75 level could be approached first. Lower, the S2 75.45 level could be retested as it was from the 3rd to the 5th of May, while even lower, the S3 74.15 support is our lowest level. Take note of the RSI indicator below our chart, which seems to have been in a steady downward line characterized in the latest sell-off on the 11th of May. 11th of May was a minor down day for Merck's share price. And now I'm going to move to this price performance table by Refinitiv Aecon. On a 52-week range, the lowest price for Merck was 71.715 and the highest price was 87.80. So again, what is this? $16, approximately $17. Not a big range, but as we said, this is a stock in play, so it could come up with volatility, and we have to give you everything in order for you to choose which one you want to take advantage of. All right. So on a year-to-date basis, it's down minus 5.31%, and its latest close was at 77.46. That's it also for Merck. And now I'm moving to our last choice for today, which is Novovax. Novovax in process to be authorized. Okay, so Novavax is not among the authorized vaccine producers yet, but has developed a vaccine and it's currently in trial stage. It's in an advanced trial stage in the UK at least. The Novavax vaccine proved just as potent as mRNA shots in a UK trial, and the company is now preparing to file for US authorization possibly very soon. According to official information presented by the company, over 2 billion doses of its vaccine could be delivered annually when at full manufacturing capacity. Novavax could file for authorization in the UK by the second quarter of 2021. And the company states it has 200 million doses of advance purchase agreements, including countries like the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So if this is authorized, a lot of people will be interested. And I'm going to move to the technical analysis. Now, Novavax has been in a downward trend line in May, dropping to our now R3 193.40 resistance, and then continuing even lower to the now R2 174.8 line. In the past week, the sell-off had been extended, and on Tuesday, the price action fell below the R1 155.65 resistance nearby where it is trading currently. On the 11th of May, the price action tested our S1 121.90 support, but failed to drop even lower. Now, if the selling is to persist, however, the S2 107.30 support line could be next, while below that, the S3 94.20 support is also imminent. Even though Novavax trading activity has been phenomenal, as you will see, the price range has been crazy in 2021. It is currently returning to levels seen back in January and in 2020. What I'm trying to say is, if you see the price performance table by Refinitiv Aecon, 52-week range was at, the lowest price was at 19.62 and the highest price was at 331.68, which is amazing. This run in 2021 has been crazy in terms of volatility, in terms of price action, in terms of big movements on a daily basis. I have to give you Novavax, and on a year-to-date basis, it's still up. Even though it's returning to lower levels, it's still up 23.92%. The latest close was at 138.18. Now, if you have any questions or any ideas that you would like to share, please post them in the chat, and I'll be happy to reply to you. But I would also like to focus on headlines to look out for, because traders should be aware that some subjects are much more sensitive than other subjects, and they can move the market tremendously. So the major US COVID-19 vaccine producers have come under pressure in the past week, as the US government stated they are willing to temporarily waiver intellectual property provisions and enable other pharmaceutical companies outside the US to produce their own vaccines. That's like saying, I'm producing a COVID-19 vaccine and I'm giving somebody else the know-how to do it, because the government asked me to do so. Basically, what the US government is trying to do, they're desperately trying to enhance the vaccination process. They're trying to bring it out on a mass scale, and because they're desperate, they could be doing this. Now, upon release of the news, this is what I was talking about when we were looking at Pfizer and Moderna. There was COVID-19 vaccine makers that fell dramatically when this news was released, because the market thought that they will be losing business, they will be losing steam, because currently they're like market makers, because there's not a lot of players out there that can produce. Yeah, a lot of people have doubts whether a lot of pharmaceuticals have the capabilities to produce vaccines. According to the Wall Street Journal, manufacturing the COVID-19 vaccines is a complex scientific process that involves securing hard-to-find raw materials and scaling them in a way that has never been done before. This is a much easier said process than done. Also, the use of special expensive equipment with trained personnel must also be added to the equation if things are to work properly. Yet this could bring into the game new companies. Okay, another way to look at this is that if these waivers are provided and other pharmaceuticals get their hands on the know-how to produce vaccines, then new companies could come into the game, and you as traders, this gives you guys more options to trade on different levels, on different ideas, on different concepts. So that's that. Watch out for headlines on waivers. Another subject is something that a lot of people are not really aware of. Okay, so vaccines are not approved yet. Pfizer, Moderna, J&J are currently authorized. There's a difference between authorized and approved. Okay, so to provide vaccines as an emergency, they are authorized. So for me, I want to see which one will be approved. All right, there's a difference between authorization and approval, and in our opinion, if one of the pre-mentioned companies is the first to be approved, then it will receive attention and traders will react accordingly. And the opposite can also affect the markets. If a vaccine does not receive approval, what happens then? Okay, I'll let you to decide. This is just my ideas I'm putting out there, so keep that in mind, because I believe it's important. And I wanna also discuss how do you use this information. By the way, this is going to also be posted on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch, or you can share it, or you can like it, or whatever you want to do. You can use this information later on, so it's not once off. So from a trader's perspective, in terms of volatility, what can you do with this information you receive from this webinar? So in my opinion, in terms of volatility, the most volatile stocks are Moderna, Novovax, then is J&J, and last is Pfizer, and then is Merck. Okay, that's in terms of volatility. I'm not saying which one to choose. Which one you choose is your opinion, is your idea, is who you are as a trader, is what you like. Okay, I'm noting this because different trading strategies produce different opportunities. Traders like fast trading stocks could go for Moderna. For lower volatility stocks, you can go with Pfizer and Merck. And in between, you can go with J&J. All right, for big movements, you can go with Novovax also. So depending on who you are as a trader, we are giving you a variety of options to trade. And the great thing about these stocks is that you will find headlines in the media about them almost on a daily basis, which tends to help when making trading setups or trading decisions. Okay, another thing that you should consider is when stocks are in the media's focus, all right, it can help you to make scenarios. Scenarios is like saying, if the price action gets here, then I'm going to do this. If the price action goes here, I'm going to do that. If this news comes up, I'm going to do this. I'm going to wait to see if the price action moves above this level, and then I'm going to do that. Okay, this is creating different scenarios, and this prepares you as a trader to do the best you can. Yeah, because you have to be prepared for the market. You have to make these scenarios before. You have to see it coming before it happens. Yeah, trading is all about the now. It's not about what happened, and it's about the now. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also, from what I see in the chat, I don't see you guys adding any questions. I just want to know that in the future, we aim to revisit this subject, as we're positive that updates and change of circumstances will prevail. Okay, so traders will definitely be interested, and it's good also to renew information and put new things down. All right, it makes your awareness as a trader grow. And before we go, I would like you guys to, if you have something to ask, or if you would like me to repeat something, please feel free to put your comment in the chat. Okay, I want to say some thank yous as a closing. So special thank you to the webinar group and marketing for putting this together. Thank you to the research group, and many thank you to our participants today. We appreciate your time, and we aim to provide more valuable trading information in the near future. If you would like to contact us for any reason, question, trading ideas, concepts that you have, something that you would like to speak about, all right, that interests you, please do so with an email to research_team@ironfx.com. That's research_team@ironfx.com. And again, I would like to say thank you. I appreciate your time very, very much. Until the very next time, be healthy, be happy, and enjoy solid trading.